You've heard it in movies, military operations, and even casual conversations. Someone gives an instruction, and the response comes back crisp and clear. Roger that. But have you ever wondered why we don't just say understood or got it? The answer takes us back to the early days of radio communication, where a simple misunderstanding could mean the difference between life and death. In the 1920s and 30s, radio technology was revolutionary, but far from perfect. Static, interference, and garbled transmissions were constant problems. Pilots and radio operators needed a foolproof way to confirm they'd received messages correctly. That's where the phonetic alphabet came in. The word Roger was the phonetic representation of the letter R, which stood for received. When a pilot said Roger, they were essentially saying message received. It was clear, distinct, and nearly impossible to mishear over crackling radio waves. But here's where it gets interesting. If Roger just means received, why do we use it to mean understood and will comply? And what about all those other radio codes like Wilco and affirmative? Stick around, because the real story involves World War II pilots, a Cold War mix-up, and why saying the wrong word could get you court-martialed. During World War II, military radio communication became incredibly sophisticated. The Joint Army/Navy phonetic alphabet standardized communication across all branches. Roger became so commonly used that it evolved beyond just received to imply acknowledgement and compliance. But technically, there was another term, Wilco, short for will comply. If you wanted to be precise, you'd say Roger Wilco, meaning I received your message and will comply with your instructions. Over time, Roger absorbed both meanings in everyday use. The Cold War era brought the NATO phonetic alphabet we know today, where R became Romeo. But Roger was so deeply embedded in military and aviation culture that it never disappeared. Pilots and soldiers continued using it because it was quick, unambiguous, and carried decades of tradition. Here's the fascinating part. Roger is more efficient than understood in high-stress situations. It's 2 syllables with hard consonants that cut through noise. Understood has 3 syllables and softer sounds that can blur together over poor connections. In combat or emergency situations, that clarity can save lives. Today, Roger that has transcended its military origins. It's become cultural shorthand for confident acknowledgement. When someone says it, they're not just confirming receipt, they're projecting competence, readiness, and a no-nonsense attitude. Interestingly, different phrases have specific meanings in professional radio communication. Affirmative means yes, negative means no, and say again means repeat your message. Using the wrong term isn't just informal. In military contexts, it can cause dangerous confusion. The phrase has also evolved regionally. American military tends to use Roger more frequently, while other English-speaking militaries might prefer different confirmations. Commercial aviation has its own variations, often using affirm or simply reading back instructions. So why don't we just say understood? Because Roger that carries over a century of communication evolution. It's a verbal handshake that says, message received, clearly understood, and action will be taken. It's brief, battle-tested, and unmistakable. Next time you hear someone say Roger that, you'll know they're echoing the voices of countless pilots, soldiers, and radio operators who needed absolute clarity when lives hung in the balance. What started as a letter in a phonetic alphabet became one of the most recognizable phrases in human communication. Roger that.